Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Pulse Ox podcast. Today, we have Ursula Hessenflow Cruz, co-founder of MyLabBox. She is an expert in consumer health and has spent the last several years building MyLabBox, the first and only self-collected at-home health testing and treatment platform available in all 50 states. You can find test kits for all your wellness needs at MyLabBox.com and in your local Walgreens store. Ursula, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I was stalking you on LinkedIn, and one of the people that recommended you, right, that endorsed you, this woman named Lauren Rochelle. You remember Lauren?
Oh my goodness, yes.
She said of you, there is no structure without the mortar. That is Ursula. Ursula served as the binding agent for the company that you were with at the time, Channel Factory. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience there?
Oh my goodness, that's so sweet of her. Yeah, that was so. I've been a founder in 3 companies now. So MyLabBox is actually the 3rd one that I've been a founding member in, and that was the 2nd one. And it was so wild because we, very different space for me and social video marketing, and I had come out of working in user experience design and technology. And we just grew, like wildfire. And it was me and Tony and one other account manager that started it. And it really seemed like overnight, we were doubling and tripling and quadrupling. And it was just a really fun experience of just like very natural growth. And Lauren was awesome. So she was just an amazing addition to our team, and really coming in and helping us, on the client services side. So I loved that as my second experience, and always, right, challenges and ups and downs and lefts and rights and dealing with managing growth that I wasn't familiar with. So it was a fun ride.
Fun. Now, the core question of our show, right, the binding agent of everything that we're discussing, is how to live a long life. And so, Ursula, what is your secret to a long life?
I would say that it's making time for your own wellness. I've spent the last 10 years growing MyLabBox and, focused on other people's wellness. And, I found during COVID times and the nuttiness of those few years, like I just really lost track of my own wellness routines, and just found myself with hormones out of whack and 20 pounds heavier and, all these sort of things. And I think I just realized, once again, and I think part of, just my meditative practice of coming back and really making your own wellness, part of your daily routine. And that's everything, right? That's fitness. That's testing. And I test myself, every 3 to 6 months, and just really knowing where you stand, right? Because you can only really manage and optimize what you can measure.
I love that. So you have a meditation practice. It sounds like. Tell me about it. What credo do you follow? Is it just breath scaling? Are you going deep into the transcendental meditation? Do you meditate as a Buddhist? Do you pray? Do you take DMT and go into the woods? Tell me about your meditative practice.
I have a friend that actually runs those kind of retreats, and I'm tempted, but haven't gone.
It has to call your name.
Yeah.
You now have 2 friends who can offer you DMT. So feel free to hit either of us up.
one day, I think you need to just have the right trusted folks around you.
For sure.
For that kind of experience. I think what I found really works well for me is starting my day. I do an active meditation. So I've tried, the stillness, and I think the stillness that works, and it can work. But for me, I just found that I really just needed to direct my mind. And so I do follow more of an active meditation where, I'll start out, with gratitude, right? Like, what are all the things that I am grateful for, and really focusing, so I'll go kind of center myself, and then, I'll focus on the things that I'm grateful for. There's forgiveness. There's always something there, right, to give up. And so then there's forgiving. And then there's like visualizing. So or virtualizing is what it's called. And it's just like kind of really visualizing, like, what is it you're creating a couple years out? And then what is it that you're creating today? And I'm really just kind of get it very clear in my mind's eye. And then, I end with just a thankfulness, to the universe, thanking the universe, for everything that I have. And I just found this practice, of, when I do this every morning, it really helps me to focus. It helps my mental health. And it just keeps me on course.
If you could go back and teach your younger self, 14-year-old Ursula, think of her, what, the things that she was going through, the world that she lived in, the problems that she was facing, the friends that she had at that time, and you wanted to distill some of the knowledge that you have gained from the meditations that you've had over your lifetime. What are some of the things that you would tell her in preparation for the rest of her life leading up to where you are now?
Oh, that's a good one. I think that I would definitely say to enjoy the ride, be present. I think even as a teenager, I was probably too serious. And there's, many moments in over my life where, I've just realized, hey, you've really just got to enjoy the ride, be present for the ride, and stop always trying to look to the future. Enjoy the moment.
Now, in stark contrast to that advice, I'm going to ask you on the flip side of that. 100-year-old Ursula, right? Health has been maximized. We're all hitting 100, easy peasy lemon squeezy at this point, right? So you're 100 years old, and it's the end of your life. It's the sunset, and you have accomplished many things. What do you hope to be able to say of your life when you reach that point?
Well, I definitely want to be able to say that I made a difference. I made a difference in people's lives. I made a difference in, for the planet. And, that I lived passionately and loved deeply.
What does living passionately mean?
Living passionately is, for me, it's doing what you love. It's pursuing your dreams. It's, believing in your dreams, even when they seem to be impossible or you don't know the way. I feel like, this iteration, of who you are is one time, right? And whatever you believe in, life is short, and don't waste time. Pursue your dreams. Figure it out. Align with people. Find your tribe.
Who's your tribe? Who's like the first person that comes to mind when you're thinking like, I want to get my tribe together and beat some drums and chant in the rain? Who comes to mind first for your tribe?
Well, I would say former coaches that I've had, personal life coaches, business coaches, and even my current business coaches. Usually the people that I turn to, because they really understand me. We just have like an amazing sort of energetic and are like spiritually aligned. So I think those are usually the people that I turn to. That give me.
How have you found your coaches in the past? I'm curious. You've had a couple of them. You've had life coaches, mentors over the years. How have they come to you? Did you go and search for them? Was it a Google search, right? Like optimize my life. I need a coach right now. Or how did they come to you? How can we attract the right tribal business life mentor for everybody who's listening?
So the first coach that I had, I was actively looking, and somehow we found each other on LinkedIn.
Praise be.
Yeah. So, I think he found me and I found him, and we just had like some common, personal growth that we had done. And that, was, we are very close, to this day. And then through founders networks. So, the coach that I've been working with now over the last couple of years, I found him, through a fellow founder. And I just knew what she was about and loved what she was about, and I just liked the sort of like balanced, very like logical, lots of business experience, having been a founder in a lot of businesses, and that sort of spiritual approach.
I like it. I want to dive into that a little bit, but first, you had mentioned earlier that there was a visualization technique that you used when you're meditating.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know from research that it turns out that if you sit there and you shoot a ball into the basket, mm-hmm. and you visualize shooting a ball into a basket, those two groups, right? There was no difference in their ability to shoot the basketball after a couple of weeks, right? It was this landmark study that's been replicated several times now. And so tell me about, if you could virtually put this vision together for us. And if it's too personal, right, and you want to just keep that under wraps, you let me know. But what do you visualize, right? What is the basketball shot that you are thinking through in your morning meditation that helps you crush and meet your goals?
Well, I'm usually visualizing what am I doing? What is life like? What has been accomplished? Talking to people about, my accomplishments, celebration. There's a lot of celebration in my virtualizations with, people in my life of accomplishments. And so it's just being there, on the other side of whatever it is that I'm looking to accomplish in the next couple of years. And then the same thing, for the day. Right. So what is it that I'm out to accomplish, for today? And so I just imagine myself, at the end of the day and, on the other side of that accomplishment and, celebrating that accomplishment and everything that it feels like.
Is there a specific achievement, a visualization of an achievement that you were able to reach that was right on the money? So
Yeah.
for 6 months to a year, you know, whatever, you were visualizing, and then when it actually happened, it was like overlaid exactly as you had pictured it?
Yes, so I do have that, and I will say it doesn't always come exactly the way that I visualize it, but it comes. And I think it's like that's the sort of letting go and letting the universe kind of, you know, attract, right? But I did, but yes, I had many of those circumstances too, and one that comes to mind is our Walgreens launch. So we launched in over 7,500 stores this year. It was a monster, right? Getting there, over a year of you know, working with Walgreens to, you know, get this program launched. And you know, I was just part of my practice was I was constantly visualizing, you know, this day, right, when we were in the stores and I was at the store, you know, with and we were you know, taking pictures and literally all that happened like exactly how I had imagined it would happen. And it actually made me, it made me cry. It was like a moment where it was just like, wow, this is just exactly how I imagined it.
Yeah. The neural synapses connected and the tears came. I know exactly how that feels. There's a moment that I refer to often where I'm in the second apartment that me and my wife lived in. It was just a little old thing, 1 bedroom, you know, a little university apartment in Provo, Utah, of all places. And I was walking out, I took some trash out, just went to the dumpster, and I was walking on the little driveway, and there were these giant, beautiful sycamore trees that had grown kind of randomly in a big row that they, you know, they had nurtured them over several decades. It was a beautiful fall day in Utah, and my son had was probably like 25 weeks pregnant at that point. My wife was pregnant, and I was crushing it in school. You know, things were stressful, money was tight, of course, but I remember looking up into the trees and having this profound sense of presence. And it brought tears to my eyes. And I haven't shared this with a lot of people. It was a very personal experience. So I look up into the trees and I can see this moment, and I captured it. Something about that specific moment in time has been filed away and is really easily accessible. Whenever I'm discouraged, whenever I can, whenever I need to go to a quiet place of contemplation, I can see the light through the trees, right? I can walk along that path and I can see that. And what's great is that the place still exists, and I go there. I've been there many, many times, and so I can go literally to that spot, and there's this divine connection to that area, right? Where I can find center and I can find presence. Is there a place like that you go to? Is there a happy place that you have created for yourself, or a moment in time that you're able to refer to that keeps you motivated and keeps you feeling this divine sense of awe and satisfaction with your life?
I would say that definitely being in nature. I mean, I can very much relate to that experience. Even when I am, you know, meditating, going to my center, it's like I just imagine, you know, many of these beautiful natural places that I've been, you know, walking through the trees, like being in a meadow and just the sun, you know, beaming, you know, on my face. Like that's the place that I feel very free and connected and grounded.
Now, you have a unique experience like many of our other guests, right? That you have been involved in health optimization for a long time. And you've been working on this testing kit company for the last 10 years, and you've had some major successes, right? Congrats on the Walgreens launch. That is such a huge accomplishment, right? 2023 is the year. That's so amazing. You are exposed to health experts as well, and doctors and practitioners and health coaches and all sorts of people who have shared insight with you over the years. Gathering all this information together, all this insight, what is the key, or one of, or a few keys? Share with us tips to living a longer life, to prolong and increase the quality of your health, to help you achieve longevity.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say again that, one thing that I've learned for myself, and it's not just self-promotion. I mean, we're in this business because, we've had our own challenges and with doctors and lab testings, and we're really looking at, how can we empower people to take control of their own health. And so I would say, most definitely, and again, I do this myself, is, to test at least a couple of times a year, all of your baseline markers, really know, right, where you stand. And then, like I said before, I think you can only really optimize what it is that you can measure. And I personally, love working with functional medicine doctors. Really, a great blend of Eastern and Western and integrative types of approaches. But the first thing is know where you're at, right, and then you can optimize.
I love it. Ursula, where can everybody find you?
You can find us on MyLabBox.com. We have over 70 different tests there, from all kinds of different categories of wellness that you may be managing or looking to optimize. And you can now find us in your local Walgreens store.
Ursula, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Eric. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Thank you. This has been the PulseOx podcast. Please, if you found this episode valuable, give us a like on Spotify and share it with a friend.